Hi, Mandy. How are you doing today? I'm Julia. I'm going to go over your answers with you for the syntax Jeopardy. Category 1, 200. I gave you 175. You were very close in your definition. You are just missing where the complement is placed, and it is at the head level. It's also good to note that complements can also be prepositions, and you just put like a complements can be either a subject complement or an object complement, but it can also be like a preposition. All right. Category 1, $400. Unfortunately, you got all of these wrong. These are kind of confusing, and I think all you did is just mismatch your definitions because you got them correct later on. So, I mean, you might just want to double check that, but I understand it's tricky. Category 1, 600, great job. You got all of your points. You gave 2 great examples, so good job. Category 1, 800, again, you did great job with that example, so perfect. So you got the full 800. Category 1, for the 1,000, I gave you 950. There's a few tiny little errors, but it's good to note because even the smallest errors could change the meaning of the syntax tree. I was a little confused because of your error. I think it would have been easier to understand if like there wasn't a bunch scribbled out. I might just be blind, so I kind of struggle. But then I also noticed that on your first noun phrase, dirty dishes, your word dishes is attaching a second head level on there. So you got noun phrase and then noun, which is the bar level, and then you've got a head level. So I would just take a look at that. That's very tricky. So, but good job on the rest. So then we're going to go to category 2. For $200, you did great. Category 2 for $400, you did great. Gave very good, relatable answers. I do drink coffee and tea and eat chocolate, so I thought that was kind of funny. All right, category 2, 600. You got the full 600. You did great examples, and I like that you put several examples on that one. Category 3 for 800. This one is very tricky, and it's partially incorrect. You got 2 of them incorrect, and I'll explain why. So when you say your first example, writes aggressive. So if you were to put a subject in front of it, like he writes aggressive would be taking the verb as an adverb phrase. The same thing is like slept aggressive. If you said he slept aggressive, it would be an adverb phrase. So you would say he slept aggressively. So slept aggressive just doesn't stand on its own grammatically. But arrived angry does work because if you say he arrived angry, angry is an adjective phrase that we're describing he. That's tricky because usually I'm looking at her, the homework that it was putting a verb phrase with a verb and an adjective phrase. That's tricky. Her examples are feel happy, make sad, become preoccupied. So if you said, I feel happy, happy is describing me, not feel. So there's just a small difference between adverb phrase and adjective phrase, which is tricky. It's tricky, but you did a great job on arrived angry. All right. On category 3, 1,000. All right. Okay, so there are a couple mistakes on this, and I understand why, because whenever we have that word yesterday in there, I feel like that made it really confusing for me, and I put things in weird places. You put yesterday into the correct place, so I know what you were doing. The problem we have is the placement of the noun phrase. So, for example, you've got a welcoming invitation. So a welcoming invitation on here, you've got it separated into a verb phrase, a welcoming, and a noun phrase, invitation. So a welcoming would technically wouldn't stand on its own necessarily. So a welcoming invitation together, we're describing the invitation, saying it's a welcoming invitation. So invitation and a welcoming pushed together would just be a noun phrase. And then welcoming would be considered the adjective phrase that would describing the invitation. And then A would be your determinative phrase, which you had. So welcoming is not a verb, but I see the confusion. It's hard, but you're doing a great job. And then her, you've got her listed as an adjective phrase. Her is considered a noun phrase. But I understand because the adverb phrase like yesterday, like that gets confusing. Because yesterday to me could be considered a noun. It's a thing. It's like a day of the week. So good job on your formation with the word yesterday and using your branches. I do like your style, and your writing is very clear. So it's easy to read. All right, category 4 for 400, you did amazing. I really like how you wrote your answers out very clear and concise, so it's really easy for me to check. You did everything correct. And then for category 4, 600, you only missed one, and you missed the same one that I initially missed, and it is H, beautiful house. This is actually a noun phrase. It looks like an adjective phrase because the first word we see is beautiful. But if we were to draw a syntax tree, our head word would be house. And that's why it's considered a noun phrase. That is tricky. I had to think about it a while. But otherwise, your other answers are perfect. And you did a really great job. Thank you for watching.